nowadays you got to do I think it's 16 weeks in Brisbane. Back then, where you just did the training at the station. So you learned how to work the watch room, and then go outside and with each individual shift at the time, because you did, I think it was 16 weeks again, sort of thing, just on day work. Those times though, the officers were called substation officers. Now they're station officers, but each shift had a substation officer, and you had to sort of remember their interpretations of different things each time you come on. You had drills that you had to do, which is, how to bowl out a hose and do this and do that with a pump and all that sort of stuff. They all had their own little tiny differences of how they wanted it done. Well, when it started, it was just like one big family, and like a new family type thing, because everyone outside of work that we enjoyed, going out together or having little barbecues type thing, all of that, and yes, it was just like one big family at the time. 4 on shift. One used to be in the watch room, because back in those days we had a watch room, and you just rotated around, so you'd be driver, watch room, driver. So, and night times it was the same thing. You go in the watch room for a couple of hours, and then 10 o'clock you change over, then someone else is in there from 10 till 6 and all that sort of stuff. But they're all helpful guys. They all showed you. There's some there, yes, a little bit cagey about things, but yeah, most of the time they just want to help you. When you do your training, you get taught, like there's 1, 2 and 3 on the truck. So number 1 does this, number 2 is the driver, number 3 and all that. But when you get to an actual job, it's sort of completely different, because we know what we got to do, but we all help each other to do what we got to do. Like now you'll if there's a house fire, you've got to put a breathing apparatus on. So 2 people put the breathing apparatus on, and then I start getting the hose, where the driver then has to race around and get the water, make sure they're doing the BA stuff properly and all this sort of stuff. So especially when I was young, early days sort of thing, they'd keep an eye that you didn't get into a dangerous position. Yeah, well, back in that earlier piece sort of thing, the Ambos used to do all the cutout gear, because they had it all, because they, as I said, they used to do all their raffles and so forth to raise their own money, so they bought that. And then it was decided that, I think a meeting between the 2 parties, that no, we don't want you guys getting your hands dirty using the hydraulics and all that sort of stuff, to concentrating on first aid, and gave it to the fireys. And then, so that equipment came along, and sort of learned how to do that. And then, yes, you go through periods where you don't have a bad accident, and then you have periods where you'll have them one after the other, just constantly at one. Like I'm a softie. I can see the fatalities and all that sort of stuff, and the gory bits is okay, but when relatives come along and see them then upset, then it sort of upsets you. Not only accidents now, you've got guys that are trained up with swift water, guys that are trained for vertical rescue, so all those jobs now are just part and parcel of how you get trained, especially when they go down to do their 16 weeks in Brizzy. They all come back with a level 1 invert rescue, level 1 swift water rescue, and all that sort of stuff. So all that new equipment is just coming, and to try and keep up with how to use all of it, it can be a bit difficult at times. I still love it. As I say, you come to work, you get a good bunch of guys that you work with, and it's just enjoyable to come to work. And like, as I say, if we go to bad accidents, the group that we're with, by the time you get back here, you talked about this and talked about that, or you sit around the kitchen table, talk about, can we do anything better? No, everything was good. And how do you feel? And then a few days later, you'll get a phone call from peer support to say, ask how you're going.